Okay, good morning. I want to welcome my good friend Matt Nuzie from Connecticut. We do a lot of we talk all the time. We do a lot of parallel business. Matt is a single agent in Connecticut. I'm a team leader here in Rhode Island, but we network all the time. We mastermind. We talk on Zooms, and I wanted to have a chat with you this morning, Matt. So it's January. The market is turning. It's still a seller's market. I think you'd agree with that, right?
Yes.
It's not May of 2022 anymore, but it's still a seller's market out there. But the buyers are back. The buyers' agents are back. We're back in business. Let's talk a little bit this morning, Matt, about why the buyers are back and what we're doing to make sure that our clients' offers are getting accepted.
Absolutely. So I agree with you. I was joking around with another agent the other day, and I said, this feels like 2019. I submitted an offer. Price point was 450,000. We came in at 420. We got a counter. We went back and forth over a couple days, and we put the deal together. So that hadn't happened in my market in a couple of years. So, it was refreshing, but it's kind of the tale of two markets where there's still some very competitive scenarios for certain houses in certain segments where others, you've got an opportunity. So what I'm doing is really having a conversation with the listing agent. Hey, what closing date are you guys looking for? Is there anything that we can do to make our offer stand out? But Joe, at the end of the day, it comes down to the price, right? Educating them on what the best price they can offer that makes sense, and the best price that they're most comfortable with. And then around that, I will create the offer to make sure that we have a complete document set. I always link our lender to the offer so that if the listing agent has any questions, there's streamlined communication. If there's anything extra that the lender would like to add, hey, they're a W-2 employee, or whatever background they like to add, sometimes that helps. I also keep the contingency period short. I know I can get an inspector out to a house within a few days, right? So I'm not going to look for a 10-day inspection contingency when I know I can get it done in 5. It's amazing how many offers I receive that they look for 2 weeks to go do their inspections, and then they want to give the second deposit a month from today from the offer acceptance. So I make it very clear that it's going to be a streamlined process if you work with me.
Yeah, well, that's very important. If you streamline the process, not only does it help your buyers today and with the offers they're putting in, but it helps you in general with co-brokes. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that seller agents have had conversations with their sellers when offers are similar, that they'll go with the Fitzpatrick team because they know the deal's going to get done. They know we cross all our T's, we dot all our I's, and they just have a not safety, but a safe feeling that, okay, this buyer is probably legit and we're going to get this deal done, versus somebody that maybe is not as streamlined in the process. They miss things. They don't ask the proper questions. They don't vet their clients. Sometimes more problems come up after the contract is signed. Obviously, if we're $50,000 off, they're going to roll the dice with the other agent. But I think that's something that you have definitely established in your market.
I started doing this about 2 years ago, and this was when we were getting 10, 12, 13 offers, and I was representing one of the offers. And I'm going to continue doing this. I write a cover letter, and in the cover letter, I give them a little bit of background on my client, right? I also give them background on myself, that I'm usually on the listing side. I understand what's important: communication, getting you their attorney information, getting you the deposit checks, scheduling inspections, hitting our target contingency dates. And I attach it. So, this is just a technical thing. I send one PDF as an offer. Okay. So the likelihood of my letter getting in front of the seller is very high. If I send it as 7 different attachments in my email, my letter may not get there. And I think the letter kind of separates, professionals like yourself from someone else that might not have the experience. And I always put myself on the other side because I'm often on the listing side. What's my biggest pet peeve when I get an offer? The document's not consistent. It's not completed. I'm going to struggle to get them to do what they need to do. So I try and take all that stress away from the listing agent and really work with them. You want them to know that you're working to get this deal closed.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important. But so we talked a little bit about, you know, whether it's multiple offers or not, Matt, whether they've got zero offers, whether we know the seller's intentions or not. One of the things I always try to do, and it may cost you a sale or two in the short run, but I always focus on the buyer. Like, what works for you? What are you interested in? Buyers always like, I wonder what Jimmy's offering. What did Jane down the street offer? What does the seller want? They got multiple offers. Don't I try to focus? I try to eliminate all that noise and just say, look, let's focus on you. What works for you? First of all, you're asking them what's important to them, which will get you a client for life. We're not transactional agents. We're relationship builders. But also, it's important because it basically eliminates buyer's remorse. There's nothing worse than selling somebody a house, or even worse, there's nothing worse than somebody winning a bidding war or getting their offer accepted and having immediate regrets because they think they overpaid. You eliminate that by focusing on them and what works for them when putting that offer together, even if it costs them a deal or two at the start.
I couldn't agree more, Joe. I actually had a conversation that is spot on to what you just said. First-time home buyer, they've been looking for a year and a half, really started taking it seriously after the new year this year, and we put our first offer in, and they said, Matt, what should we offer? And so I sent them back. I said, I've got two questions for you. The first question is, do you love the house and you don't want to lose the house? And the second question was, do you like the house? Do you like the house only at a certain price? Depending on where you are, we'll navigate what kind of offer we make. Because I've had scenarios where, I've said, here's the market, this is what I suggest, and this is, I'm not sure we're going to win, but this is what we're going to suggest. And then, the buyer says, well, I really love the house and I'm losing sleep over it. I would have offered more. So I need to figure out what category they fall in. Is it, we need this house no matter what? There are some buyers like that still. Or we love the house, but only for this price. And if that's the approach, then you make the strongest offer that you can, that you won't lose sleep over, and we'll do our best to get it accepted. But I agree. Even in the crazy market, I probably, was a little bit more conservative than most agents in terms of suggesting or encouraging offers that I thought were, just didn't make much sense.
Yeah, not only will the buyer have regrets, but if their situation changes and they need to move or need to resell that thing, you're going to end up with egg on your face if you can't resell it for what you just advised them to buy it for. People's situations change all the time. So that's something you always want to avoid. But, the one bit of advice I'd give to any buyer's agents watching this, assuming somebody does, other than my mom, who's the only confirmed watcher that I have so far on my podcast. But the one bit of advice is you talk somebody out of buying a house for legit reasons, not just for the sake of it. You talk somebody out of buying a house, you get a client forever. They never forget that stuff. Buyers hate commission breath. This is the literal opposite. You're literally in sales and talking somebody out of a sale, but you have to have legit reasons for it. You look at the property, you look at the price per square foot, you look at the comps, you look at the rental income, whatever strategy you're using to price out this house, and there's 3 or 4 different strategies, whichever one is most important to it, come to a decision, make sure the buyer's comfortable with that price, and then put your best offer. You can only play the game with the hands you're dealt, but the difference between me and you and what makes us so successful is that we do the best we can with the cards we have of a buyer.
But Joe, I think you hit on probably the most important takeaway from anyone that's wanting to represent their buyers better. It's giving them genuine advice, not being in it for that one sale, becoming more of an advisor than a salesperson. And if that means going through 2, 3, 4, 5 different houses, you have a client for life. And I just went through this week, actually. We got our offer accepted, negotiated a very nice price. We did the home inspection and uncovered things that, really put this particular house out of my client's budget. And I gave them the same advice I would give myself, my brother, anybody close to me. And we're going to walk away from the deal, but they called me up and just said, we really felt you were in our corner. We appreciate the honesty and the truth, in the process. So, right now we're in a good spot, even though we lost that deal.
Yeah. So we have, that's the thing. I mean, at some point everybody will understand that, but I think it's a good practice for somebody to for legit reasons, talk somebody out of a deal. it'll get that trust factor right up. So we have a document here. I'm just taking a look at it. Wasn't a document. It's like a sheet on our website of what some of the things that we do to help our clients' offer get accepted. So I think you had talked about keeping the contingencies to a minimum. If you need a contingency because those are the cards you're dealt, then so be it. But you try to lessen the contingency as much as possible. If it's a Hubbard and if it's closing in 9 days and if all the contingencies have been met, but their purchase of this house is literally contingent on the cash coming from that, you still have to have the Hubbard in place. But you can lessen that by putting a letter like you had suggested or giving some context on that buyer. Some of the things we do, especially if it's a 1031 buyer or if it's somebody who has the cash, we like to put in a higher earnest money deposit just to create the perception. I almost said illusion, but it's not an illusion, is it? It's a perception that your buyer is stronger. I mean, you want to make, these are little things, little small tweaks that you can make to make your buyer's offer more attractive to a seller without just necessarily paying a price that they're not comfortable with. Do you have any other kind of examples on that sort of stuff, Matt?
Sure. When in the height of the market, I put together a similar sheet, and I explained everything in detail, and I would send it to the buyer, and I would say, these are the things that I see on the listing end that has been attractive to a seller. And it's been things like high deposits, scheduling the inspection without even having an accepted offer. Say, hey, we're going to do the inspection tomorrow, so that we know if this is a go or not. And I've had some, buyers that are, in strong financial positions, not even look for a mortgage contingency. And that I encourage them to speak with their lender, speak with their financial advisor, and whatever they need to do. But that's helped us compete with cash offers, and if it certainly helped us compete with financed offers. So, things like that we've done, and probably same stuff that you guys are doing to win deals here.
Yeah, the risk versus reward is there. Am I going to let a first-time home buyer putting down 3.5%, FHA waive their mortgage contingency? No. But if you're an investor, you've done this multiple times, you're putting down $500,000 on a $750 purchase, where like a homeless guy's getting that loan, right? If the risk versus reward is there, then I'm okay with a particular buyer waiving their mortgage contingency. But it is one of the contingencies that I'm least likely to advise somebody to do unless I really feel confident in that buyer.
I mean, they've got to be in a very strong financial position. Like you said, first-time home buyer, 3.5% down. It's not even in the discussion, but, I've had people that are putting 40% down. They're W-2 salaried employees, good job security, and they, after having multiple conversations, there's also lenders by us that will take a file all the way up until basically a clear to close where you slot in the property. And as long as the appraisal is close enough, they basically have a firm commitment. So I don't anticipate needing to have, to do that in the current environment because things are kind of leveling off a little bit. But at the height of the craziness, that's kind of where we were.
Yeah, agreed. And then, home inspections, again, unless it's brand new construction. I just bought a house up in New Hampshire. It was built in like 2019. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably not going to do a home inspection here. If it was built in 1919, then I'm probably advising my people to do a home inspection, or if it's a condo sometimes. But really, we're not having buyers waive home inspections anymore because you don't need to. 8 months ago, if you didn't waive your home inspection, your P&S was in the trash barrel, the trash bin. Before they even read, they would toss all the ones with home inspections and then focus on the 6 or 7 that were left, and then start tossing other ones. But the first ones that went in the trash were ones with home inspection contingencies.
Yeah, the challenge now is not you can get your home inspection, your mortgage contingency, your appraisal. You can get all that included. It's just getting buyers comfortable that, at least in Connecticut, in the markets I work in, the new norm is the elevated price because. We're down 40% inventory. So sellers we're seeing some multiple offers, but they're not getting 10% more. They're getting their asking price, maybe 5 or 10,000 above. So it's getting buyers comfortable that this is unfortunately, where pricing is and probably for the foreseeable future as the interest rates kind of probably settle somewhere in the 5 range would be my speculation.
Ooh, that'd be nice. I was thinking like 575 to 625 over the next 12 months, fluctuating up and down between that kind of half of
Yeah,
percent.
that'll likely be the new norm, and buyers just have to get comfortable with it. But pricing, it hasn't had much downward pressure on pricing. It's been, if you look at the data in Connecticut, it's kind of leveled off, but leveling off at a slow rate.
Yeah, well, the buyers are back. One or two of the things that you had touched on very briefly. Well, the other thing I always say is, if your buyer needs a contingency for a specific reason, then put it in. But try to keep your offer as clean as possible. Don't have all these unnecessary contingencies. Oh, the hot water heater is going to have to be replaced in 2 years. Let's put that in there. Is that your dryer again?
No, that's I got a clock here. I guess there's a lot of noise in my office here. Must be
I thought that was,
10
I thought that
to
was a
the hour.
chime.
Yeah, I'm a terrible podcast guest.
So anyway, keep your offer as clean as possible. Avoid unnecessary concessions, and then even in this market, if you can make the offer more attractive by allowing the seller to stay for 60 days because you don't necessarily need the property that quick based on your needs, that's nice because it makes the seller a cash buyer in their follow-on purchase.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that, and that's why you're the expert.
Okay, so let's wrap up today. Buyers are back. We talked about that. There's plenty of ways to make sure that we are using the leverage that we now have with a little more DOM and with sellers' expectations being kind of leveled off a little bit, similar to inflation and interest rates. I think the expectations are being leveled off and will be over the next 12 months. So any last minute tips on, as buyer agents here listening to this, other than what we've talked about, what's the one key that you think a buyer agent should take out of this call as they head into what we hope will be a very busy spring season, Matt?
There's been a bunch of good nuggets here, but one thing that actually I didn't touch on, and I don't think we touched on, is as a buyer's agent, you've got to study the market. I'm constantly looking at houses, and I'm prepping clients for a house that's on the market after the first weekend. Right now, if it's on the first weekend, the sellers are really hoping to get their price. But as you see, as they swing and miss, the good buyer's agents are jumping at some of these houses in the second week, third week, because there's nothing wrong, but they're at the wrong price. So, hey, let's go make an offer. Let's get the dialogue started. The sellers are nervous, right? Their neighbor just had 10 offers last year and got $100,000 over asking price, and they didn't get anything in their first weekend. That second week, if you like the house at a certain price. So as a buyer's agent, just studying the market. And that's what I did in previous to 2020. I was a student of the game. I was at every broker's open house. I saw every house that came on the market. So I knew what was a good deal. So I think buyer's agents, to earn respect and to earn the trust of your client, you've got to know the inventory and know the houses. And I as I see a lot of offers come in on listings, a lot of buyer's agents don't do that. But of the things we touched on, it's writing up a clean offer. It's, speaking with the listing agent, but not being too overbearing, right? Not trying to look for an inside track. I find that to come across the wrong way, but ask important questions. Closing date, is there anything, terms and conditions, and just keeping the timeline very, very streamlined and moving things along quickly, and start to build up a reputation and a rapport as a great buyer's agent. So you're going to see the same listing agent over and over. They're going to want to work with you because you closed that deal and you got things done the way you said you'd get them done.
Exactly. That doesn't help some of our newer agents unless they're on a team, but it's something that they can look forward to and start building the foundation for. I actually had a buyer one time who was like, I do not want multiple offer situations, and I do not want to be competing and overpaying for properties. We actually set up their search criteria that they only receive properties with 10 DOM. That's it. We didn't look at anything the first 2 weekends. Most properties are listed on a Thursday morning heading into a weekend. They have their open houses, and then the following weekend, because we felt that to him, getting the best price, the best deal was more important than the individual house. So that's something we set up for him that you can keep in mind as well. Listen, Matt, I want to thank you for your time this morning. I want to wrap this up. We both have busy days and busy schedules ahead of us. But thanks a million. Will I see you in Vegas next month at the R4?
I will be there, Joe. I'm looking forward to having a cocktail with the Fitzpatrick team.
Absolutely, absolutely.
right.
Okay, listen, Matt, have a great day, and I'll
Thank
talk to
you.
you soon.
Thanks for having
See you,
me.
man.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.